which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joe, present. Now, here.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Here.
Everybody present. Any addition to our agenda?
I do have one under letter E, informational items, notice of 2026 Township Aid.
Anything else? Now I'm looking for a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Sorry, before we had, Jackie, I reached out, I'm not seeing it, I may have missed it before, about the grant for the tire disposal.
Oh, okay. Am I presenting on that? I hope not tonight. Are you or am I? I apologize.
I can speak to it.
Okay, what, oh, yes, okay, we can talk, yeah. I do actually have some information about it from Todd County.
So we're gonna put that under new business?
Yeah, let's go with C, tire disposal grant.
Very good. And, anything else?
Is there anything else? Now I'm looking for a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Joe made that motion. On a second.
I'll second
Martin seconded. All in favor?
it.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Any corrections to the minutes from last month? Now I'm looking for a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
Martin's made that motion. On a second.
I'll second.
Dale seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Treasurer's report, Marlene?
All right, our last meeting, our checkbook had $434,382.03. We earned a dividend of $89.28. Checks at our last meeting totaled $88,740.40. Electronic transfers totaled $437.60. We voided check number 5081 since it was a double payment, so adding back in $26.85. Deposits this last month totaled $1,621.50 for a balance tonight of $346,941.76. Reconciliation of the checkbook, bank statement balance shows $429,975.28. Thus, the checks that haven't cleared of $84,655.02, plus the deposit that hasn't cleared of $1,621.50 for a balance in the reconciliation of $346,941.76. Money market at our last meeting had $55,585.19. We earned interest of $38.83 for a balance tonight of $55,624.02. Our share account remains at $36.09. Total monies in the township right now are $402,601.87.
Questions on the treasurer's report? I'm looking for a motion to approve it.
I just had one question, sorry, Jim. Jackie, the bills that we're gonna discuss tonight for Alcott are not reflected on this?
They're not in our checkbook yet? In our checking account, is that what you're asking?
No,
Yeah.
no, they end after last.
Right, claims for tonight they won't clear, go ahead, Marlene.
No.
Sorry.
Claims tonight will clear, for the next meeting, we'll see them on there.
Thank you.
For a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll make that motion.
Lonnie made the motion, Larry second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Bills.
I'm gonna try to get at least that. Make sure you have the same, I get you the presentation up.
I can discuss it.
Yeah, we could do that. one.
Knew this coming in though. Kind of knew this coming in. I found out what the quote was. That's how I'll choose.
Were you able to go home for dinner? You can stop at the Dairy Queen and go home.
Not good.
I have some policies. Okay, so.
I think I have 2 life savings left.
I'm good.
We even got music.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Fancy. At least you're really good. I was in mine. Oh, really good. Jackie, can I have the really desk?
You got the wheelie chair.
You are that, we can put you up here.
No, I want to be up there. Why not?
You just want to be, okay.
Yeah, some real around
Yeah.
checking what everybody's doing.
The secret to wheels is putting on a forward disc because you don't stop.
Get your exercise.
We have a small space stage, so it's made for township elections. These allow us to reconfigure quickly.
Yeah.
Change up,
I think they're
start
pretty,
elections, come back. Yeah, so.
they're pretty snazzy.
Nothing but the finest.
Thank goodness for the grant.
Thank you to Sourcewell. Yeah.
motion to approve the bills.
Make that motion.
Dale made that motion, I have a second. I'll second it. Joel seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Resident comments?
Okay, do you want to go ahead and?
She's asleep.
There we go.
You get the phone, please.
I got just a few quick things just to kind of present. Most of this, I know the board's already heard a bunch of stuff, let's whip through it. I'm gonna try to do this in 5 minutes or less, but just to make sure everybody's on the same page, and then something on for the wash consideration. So this is the Ward Springs plat. That's part of that walk. I know you're familiar with this one. There's a Lake Street that's been vacated in '92, and then here's the Lucy's addition that was done in 1929. Almond Drive is roughly where the blue highlight is. It's not on that plat. Lake Street's on there, and that, again, that's been vacated. Then we got the Harriet Ward addition. That's highlighted with what's called Shady Lane. That was dedicated in 1946, and as far as I can tell, it's held in trust by Todd County, and the board never accepted it. The township never accepted it. So my property's right here. I got 25 feet that's actually in this area here as I go through, but this is just kind of show you a couple different ways to show it. And we had a survey, so this is actually the inner corner where Shady Lane off my lot, and then the far northwest is right up here. Good to go. And there's some pictures of it. So that's a shot from my drive going out, washes down here. This is the inner one, and right back here you can barely see the other one. And then this shot right here is approximately where the line goes on Shady Lane. So it's actually south from my driveway down. And there's the GIS image of it, same thing. The southern end of it runs down here, and what was in the dedication ends right. There's a blown up, you can kind of see that open area. That's how they're showing Shady Lane. The rest of it is by private easement. So it's not a through street. And then a couple things that I noticed. So the township, this is shown in yellow, which means it's a township maintained road, tarred. This segment here still shows as private, although it's township maintained and it's tarred. So either it hasn't been updated, but my understanding on that is, and I'll show you in a later slide, it looks like it's by private road easement, right? Is how they did this section down. I'm not sure up here. So there's 6 ways a road can be established. This is the one I'm going to concentrate on for our plat part of it. And it says that a platted subdivision must include certain features, including roads that are dedicated to the public or for transportation purposes. A dedication to the public for transportation purposes is a dedication to the local government held in trust for the local government, which would be Todd County, until it chose to accept the dedication. The township can accept or not accept the dedication, which my assumption is they have not. A platted road is the responsibility of the owners within the plat. And the plat's kind of the key word that I'm wondering about here until the road's accepted. So the way I think I understand it is we have the original Ward Springs plat. The 2 additions then would be part of that plat. Does that sound like that might be right? Or is the plat addition totally separate? That's one of the questions for who maintains Shady Lane. But then on Nathan's property, he's got an easement right. The northwest 60 feet is, and it's also part of a turnaround, is how that piece was established. That's the most southern piece. So on the survey that he had and I had, this is 17A right here. The point that everybody's been kind of looking at is this one right up here is where they're saying the end of the road is, and I'll show you that in a couple different images here. So there's 90 feet that are not maintained by Birchdale Township. It's privately owned by the line on the GIS. This is approximate. And Shady Lane's down here. So as far as maintenance, Shady Lane's maintained by the plat, which would be all the people going up the north side. It's the way it reads in the regulation of it. So the question is then basically this 90 feet would be the owner on this side and the owner on this side. And I have a small section up on the south side. The wash is right in here. It runs just right in that section right there. I'll show you. So here's the wash. Here's coming from the north, going south towards the wash. Here's the yellow lines. There's the corner of the one I was just showing you. That's on the very, go back to that. This one right here on 17A. So the lines, it says this is about 20 feet from the marking over here. So there's 60 feet yet a road that's been maintained in the past. So this segment right between here and here is what sits, that wasn't accepted in the original whole road. That's kind of left in limbo, and then Shady Lane starts. So it's not really part of the dedication. It doesn't show up. This doesn't show up in any of the platting dedications or additions. Yeah, that pretty much covered all that. So another shot. Here's my northwest corner. There's the wash. Here's that corner on mine, and this section here is in that area that's highlighted up that is not in Shady Lane. So this is west of my drive. This is my marker just before it, and here's the other one that I showed you on the previous slide. So here's the wash coming through. It comes through 15A. I have the southern half of 15A. Nathan has the northern half of 15A, 16 and 17. The easement right's right here. Here's the tile inlet down approximately 50 feet from the lake, and here's where it comes out to kind of show you how all that comes together. So we're still looking at this segment. There's 60 feet here. This one's 30. This one's really close to 30. So there's 90 feet there that's not maintained by the township. So a couple of questions. One is, can we confirm that Shady Lane was never accepted? I'm pretty sure the answer to that's going to be no. The township never accepted it back in 46, I think it was. And then how was the private road up in here? Because usually the whole segment's taken, and it wasn't in this case. It was the easement right stop up in here and then go further north. So I'm pretty sure that was done by just easement rights to come down. So the current road dimensions between the white flags about 21 feet, and the hard surface is roughly 17. So the 2-lane further to the north that's tarred is around 22 feet wide just for the tarring. So what would it take to possibly widen that? The point I'm getting at is, and bring this up to Shady Lane into the township maintained road so that we bring it up and make it compliant, because pretty much what's being done in here will be making it pretty close. I think the culvert would have to be larger in order to have the overdrop on it. So what's the extra cost of that potentially? And if Todd County Soil and Water might pick up some of that at all. So talk to Nathan. He's considering doing easement rights in here. If you wanted to do it to come to the 66 feet, it'd be up to Dale Arms on the other side. And then this road, if we widen it, would be compliant. And then Shady Lane wouldn't be involved in any of this. It would still be held separately, but we wouldn't have that 90 feet where it looks like just the two owners are responsible for that, the way it is right now.
And who are the two owners?
So that would be your farmland's right here, and Nathan's in this section here. And I have this section. So I actually have this little chunk over here, but it's south of the wash. So the wash would actually fall between both of your properties. And I think the way it's done up further to the north is each side maintains, if you did an update on the road, you would charge something for doing that road up there on each to them. Is that kind of correct? When you put a road in, update it?
When they tarred it, all the landowners paid for the tar.
Right.
Okay, going up this way. Yeah, so same thing would happen in here, but maintenance after that then is only the township, or is there still like towns do, then they do a sidewalk or something, they'll charge a fee?
I guess we could do it either way.
Okay, so I'll get to my point here. So I've collected $2,480 towards this project so far. They're made out in checks to both Nathan and Dale. I told them I would hold them. I've talked to about, there's another 30% or so to go. I'll guarantee you'll get 4,000. So part of my thought on this, because the questions that came up when I was doing this is, would soil and water possibly pick up some of the widening part? We're looking at probably 6 to 8 feet maybe at the most, I think. And then out of those funds that I got, I ended up getting more than she had asked, and I'm willing to put in a little more yet if we can get it kind of resolved. The donors the things that came up was the sediment, the leaves, when they do their presentation, that will not just take it out of the bottom, that the sediment and stuff won't go into the lake. And what if the berm overflows, that branches and stuff won't plug up the secondary culvert, the one that's there right now? They'd like to see a diagram. I'd like to have something so I can work with the next ones now, because I'm gonna have a hard time catching them at the lake. And overwhelmingly, they would love to see this go into the township so they don't end up, because in the past, it's pretty much been, from what I know, the lake people have maintained that road when it was washed out about 7 or 8 years ago. So they'd like to see it kind of be done. This is just for some information, so the drop on each side. This is the lakeside east side. The west side is now, you got water coming down in here, but the west side, or the west culvert, is starting to erode down in here where there's some rocks down in the dirt. So that's starting to be a problem. And that is it. Just so something to think about with the soil and waters presentation.
The only thing I was worried about a little bit, how are we gonna get a turnaround on the other side of the culvert?
Do you have to have one on the other side? We already have one 90 feet up.
So you want us to sit there and take that 90 feet over, but you can't do anything with it?
You can't take it over?
Or if we're gonna sit there plow, how are you gonna get turned around with it?
Well, the plow turns around on Shady Lane right now. What they do is they bring the information. They've been doing.
Go all the way up and push my snow off on that side of that road. So I'm following that 60 feet, and that's where I stop. So where the tar stop starts again is where I stop.
See if I got a good.
Handy that you have to do.
So
Directions that I got from.
he comes up in here and just pushes it off right up in here.
And
So
what
he's
is the
already
cul-de-sac?
coming up in there. There's room right in here, although part of that Dale owns right up into here, and Sunquist owns this section going up. It's not a real wide section, but he would own that part right here.
So the cul-de-sac is past Nathan's?
Correct.
Yeah, the
There's
curb.
the first 60 feet of my property, that's why there's additional tar, is my understanding that there was an easement granted like in the 80s. And that tar was extended the first parcel, 17A, and that's why there's tar. And part of that is the purpose of the turnaround. That's why there's kind of a wider tar section there.
Yeah.
As a cul-de-sac or a turnaround. But that, and it's just that other, like we said, it's probably,
Well, it's 90 feet on the,
Yeah.
I pulled it up, it's exactly 90 feet, but when you go by the survey. So that would be the most accurate. But it does have public road turnaround, and it's up in this side right here.
the goofy part about it, I guess, is that I don't know if there's an easement on your property as well as that turnaround, because only up to 8 feet of the tar possibly is on my property. So almost that entire section of road is on Aaron's property. The culvert where it goes into our property, we own maybe the last 4 feet of it. The rest is on property west of ours.
He shows the road kind of in here. It's not right exact, but same on mine. Like, mine gets up fairly close to it, but I'm short of it also.
So
Up
Rob,
in here, it cuts into it.
so you're saying like Lucy's edition and Harry Ward's edition, they didn't come together? Is that what you're?
They didn't have
They didn't connect.
They didn't have Almond Drive, whatever it was called way back. Yeah, it's not in the Lucy's Addition, it's on the north side. Lucy's Addition comes up almost to it, but it's not actually, when you do the easement, road easement, then you get into Lucy's Addition. It kind of goes, meanders back and forth, if you look on the GIS, over that road. But that's not, the legal way to look at it, but, so it's, some places it's all on ours, and some places it's a little bit in the easement rights are definitely in the Lucy's Addition some, but they didn't, when they did it, it's not part of that. I just heard some different versions. I just want to clarify this because I got that, it's nailed down. I mean, it is definitely on the long side of my inner lot. The Shady Lane ends right here and goes down. But then this wouldn't affect Shady, so you wouldn't have to worry about having, if you started to maintain some of it or anything, it'd be, we can still take care of that ourselves. That's it. So anyway, something to think about for the remaining portion.
So is there cost share with this here too, or not?
With the project, there's cost share. When you're talking about road widening, talking from the soil and water perspective, that's increased impervious surface. It's also increased material that could end up in the lake. So that part, we would not cost share.
Saying I can't widen it.
Right, we would have done his road project if we could do that. Yeah, we can't do road.
But if we did that, if we picked up the cost of that portion of it, if soil and water can't match it or anything, if we picked up the cost of the extra widening, which I don't know, do you have any idea what you think it would cost to widen 6 for one side? You gotta go down pretty good, the other side not so much.
So you're talking about widening and building up that road down there to kind of slow and filter the water down?
Well, no, they were talking about building it up to hold it. That was already in the plans. I'm just saying, if it's a problem for you to maintain the project, we could give you the easement rights. The two of us would do it to get the project to go through on our side and get the trees cleared. But the road would have to be wide in order to be able to tar it to make it legal, because it's not, well, you have 10 feet there. Minimum tar is what, 9? So 18 feet wide?
The tar,
Yeah,
most of it's 20, at least 20, that tar is.
yeah.
Might be 22.
You can't go like 9 or whatever, but then widen it to whatever that is. We pick up that part of the cost out of the 4,000 that raised to, which I don't know, we're looking at 2, 3, 4,000 to do that. We already have everything for equipment involved in it. Would be the extra material and maybe a new culvert.
For us to take, that builds up to county specs.
Yeah.
So what are you talking when you say a new culvert? What are you talking when you say a new culvert? Are you
The one that's
talking
currently
bigger
there?
Or what?
If we widen it, I don't know if it's wide enough to
The
be able
question
to
is
widen
whether
it.
it's gonna fall short of.
It's gonna end up when they,
Necessary.
the one side when you build it up, you're probably gonna have to go past where that culvert is. So-
Yeah, you definitely have to have a longer culvert.
So,
I mean, we're looking at a project mark down by that Coleman, we're going 24 inch to 36 inch, and I mean, are we looking at doing the same thing down there? I mean, I would say yes, because we're looking at down the road, so.
So the whole road's gonna be dug up anyway. But that is part of the plan, that agreement on the operation and maintenance of the tile can be agreed upon, we're gonna cross through the road.
so with the extra cost would be new culvert longer and, whatever it costs the widening. But do you have any idea what you think that would be, if that's something you would consider doing, that we would have to try to help fix?
Because I assume you can't just lengthen that culvert, right? You can't just add
No,
more
I
feet.
don't think so.
or 8 feet.
So what's
You can put extensions on a culvert.
Well, that's all it would need is an extension on the one end.
Has there been a hydrology evaluation done to see the volume of water moving through, how much overtopping there is? I only bring it up because of what our experience has been on Alpine. We thought we were solving one problem, but it turns out the road was designed to do that, which was to run across. The culvert was intentionally supposed to be smaller.
Well, they're looking to add a 15, running, I mean, that'll be in their presentation, but you're gonna have a lot more flow capability, so.
I don't think we would say to increase the volume of the culvert, the size of the culvert, it just isn't long.
It's the length, the
It's
length
the
of the road.
length. So if we can just add an extension to it, we can use the existing culvert, it would just have the inlet would have to slide over a little bit to make room for the road. And then an extension had to be added.
So,
But I wouldn't increase the diameter of the culvert.
I understand, I mean, there's two questions. One is, if you're widening the road, you need to have a longer culvert, otherwise you can't widen the road. Right. It's a physical limitation.
Right.
But if you're increasing the height of the road, where it's lower now, and the water, if it backs up, is intended to go across the road because the culvert is purposely small, prevents that water from going through. But now if you increase the height, you've dammed up the water on one
I
side.
think there's a spillway in the.
Yeah,
So
but
I haven't been on
let's-
site, but my question is, just has somebody who is a hydrologist looked at it?
let's let them do their presentation and then maybe pick it up at that point. That's what I was just trying to throw it out, it's something to consider, depending on what they say for the maintenance and that.
So sorry, who's they?
I'm sorry, Top Asian.
Ross.
Very good, thank you.
There.
All right. So I didn't bring anything that wasn't where it was TV and everything, but I didn't bring anything to put on PowerPoint. As far as some of the hydrology calculations, I went through some of those numbers based on some of the upland treatment that's already been on Dale's property as well. There's been structures put in to decrease the peak flows coming down. So modeling that whole system coming to that culvert right now is basically, give or take, that 4-inch rainfall in 24 hours, so the 10-year storm event would overtop the road. Just barely on the 10-year. By raising the
so
road,
can I jump in on that?
Yeah.
Here? Whenever we had this meeting 2-3 weeks ago, on the bottom side of this here culvert, which is it's already washed out. So I mean,
That was 2 inches in 30 minutes.
yes. So I mean, I'm just jumping in. You can go from there.
yeah, and again, different intensity storms are gonna overtop, like that 2.5 hour, it will overtop just because of that volume coming that fast. So we're looking at this with some of the hydrographic curves on the rainfall intensities. We're looking at a little bit longer storm duration for that 4 inches. So I definitely we're getting more intense rainfall events. So if we're looking at designing for some of these more intensified ones, the cost is going to go exponentially higher. And that's kind of not the standards that we're designing to right now. the 10-year storm event is typically what we design for most of our projects and model, safe spillways for the rest of the storm events up to that 100-year event. Just looking at what we have going through, if we put in a 12 or a 15-inch tile coming up with an inlet, we also talked about on the west side of the road, clearing some of those trees out, digging a little bit of a pond, or I wouldn't say a pond, more of a settling basin. With the leaves, the debris coming through the woods, you're gonna have maintenance in that area. So my proposal was to open that area up, create a small sediment basin, hopefully trap some of that, and add like basically a rock berm. So it would filter some of that, the water could still get through. In a high event, say it plugs up, it can still go through over the top before causing more damage. With the homes below, in the middle of the drainage, just liability-wise, I don't want to build a high dam. Raising the road a little bit isn't going to increase that liability very much, but to store a bigger event isn't possible. And I guess personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable designing something 3-4 feet higher where you're having a huge volume of water behind it, and all of a sudden something happens where the culvert plugs and you have all this pressure and it blows out with the homes below. So that was considered. By raising the road, it's, let's say, 1 foot to 16 inches maybe in that low dip by the culvert, creating a spillway about a 6-inch deep, just a little bit of a speed bump, basically, just a dip in the road where those higher events can bypass without creating a problem downstream. I don't want to have it over the top of the culvert. Ideally, it'd be on the north side where I know there's some mailbox and that turnaround there. By raising that road, let's say that foot in that area, it will actually get up into that area. Eyeballing it on site, it didn't look like it'd be that far up, but it does fall off a little bit down there, so it would have to be opened up a little bit wider. Original plan was just gravel on the surface and where the spillway is, and the road bituminous would cut out just like a concrete spillway, and that way it can be maintained. If that road is paved, asphalt is acceptable, not quite as durable on some events. It can crack, especially in those dips where potentially be a problem where it could unravel. More maintenance, basically. But yes, so back to the design of the sediment basin, the rock berm. We have an inlet, like the Hickenbottom style inlet is typically a better way to keep the debris from plugging as quickly. It can fill up a little bit, and also propose is like a rock trench. So dig a rock trench, put in perforated tile. You can have wider openings, fill it with coarse aggregate, and that would be below and adjacent to that rock berm. So that could handle, let's say the inlet plugs, we're still getting flow through that pipe. We can size that to maximize flow. Usually we consider up to 40% openings that are plugged and still have capacity in our tile. So that's kind of an insurance factor to keep the water moving. I know there's springs, there's seeps, things like that. When you have intakes, wintertime, those springs, that constant flow is definitely a problem getting capacity and freezing up, especially that March timeframe, maybe the freeze thaw cycling. So that was considered, and then that 12 to, I know originally we had a 12-inch tile coming through. We talked about increasing capacity, just looking at the recent storm events, running that 15-inch down. So there was also concern, it's a 24 right now at the bottom through the private properties down there, overloading that, but by staging it a little bit higher up with the 12 or the 15 and then through the culvert, it actually reduced the peak flow by a little bit on the up to the 25-year storm event. And beyond that, there wasn't a big change just because of the volume of water and the limited storage behind it. Once you get to that 50 and 100-year event, it's pretty negligible about the water that would be running through there. And let's say the 100-year event is basically 6.5, give or take, inches of rain in 24 hours. So I have done some of that modeling. I can fine tune a little bit more depending on, I didn't want to get too far in the weeds just because I know it's still being considered on how that road is going to be maintained and how this project with, originally with Nathan and Dale taking over, some of that cost and since it is on their properties. So I guess any other questions regarding that portion of the project?
So the cost sharing, kind of the extra culvert and everything else, and dug out for that pond, that'd be covered by.
Yes. So the first, as you're going down the road, you'll have this first new culvert that he's talking about
Right.
now. And the protection, the overflow protection would be covered as well. Concrete, I don't know if we've covered tar, but the concrete, we would, do that, so. I could not justify to my supervisors, oh, we're gonna expand impervious surface and put more material in the shoreline that could wash down to the lake. They wouldn't go for that. They appreciate that we're doing the work that we're doing there and that people are willing to do that, but, that part would have to be a separate agreement between you and whoever goes.
So I have an argument, I don't know if Robbie can answer this, but there seems like there's no who owns what and who's gotta pay for what on this project, and I mean, I'm okay with if we can talk in the Ross, put some kind of a pooling area where this water can pool and slow down and then head down towards Little Birch, but I brought it to the township board. I really don't want to be a liability if this water runs over the road and washes it out. And I don't think, from what I gather, and I mean, question me if I'm wrong, township board, but I mean, it sounds like they don't want to be accountable for this either. So, I mean, where does it stand?
I'm all right with it either way. I'm just telling you that people that are donating and stuff, they would prefer to see it going to the township, because, going up the whole line on the flat. So there's people that don't even use the road. They're looking at more of the debris and stuff coming in and still leak plutonium to it too. So, but they would just like to be over with it where they don't have to, where somebody's not coming to them. I think it'll be very difficult to get them to donate again on this with the size of the project and that.
It's always easier for somebody else to have a problem.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're doing.
But I think it's gonna make a major difference on it. So if, I'm just throwing out there, if you consider township, and if not, and you can maintain it or whatever they want you to do, I don't care. It's fine with me either way.
Operation and maintenance of this project is a required part of the project, so if we don't have a signature on operation and maintenance, we unfortunately can't do a project. So whether that's township, Nathan, Dale, it can't go through without it being operated and maintained.
I know one time I talked to Steve Gudgel, who's the president of the Little Birch Association, and he said he thought that the association could take over the maintenance and the cleaning and the upkeep and that, but, that's nothing final, it's just him shooting from the hip.
That would have to be approved by Dale.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can't
Well,
tell Dale,
I mean,
somebody's coming
the
in.
biggest, the biggest whole concern of this whole project is I don't want to be that guy that has to maintain this clean out and stuff, and I've been labeled as that farmer, and I mean, I'm okay with that, but yeah, I don't want to be, I'll donate land if they need to, slow this water down and stuff, but yeah, I don't want to be the person to maintain this intake, and I mean,
So if the township took it over and did all the maintenance and everything, it got washed over and everything got screwed up, then the township is in the same situation that you just described.
So, I mean, I think Arnie here, correct me if I'm wrong, we talked about this at when we met down there. There really is, we're still looking where the township owns this property and land, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Any research that I've done at I think he mentioned to it too, that up at Alpha Lane is the end of your,
Yeah, so we have actually been taking care of the road past where we were
so we're,
supposed to.
so we're about 2,000 feet from the,
I've already got two
Oh, yeah,
thousand
the
feet.
easement rights for the road, so you've been doing it, but
yeah, it'd be unique to, you'd have to go through some interesting.
So the township does not own the road to the cul-de-sac?
What are
They,
you talking to?
It's still private.
Is there an easement on it, do you know?
well, there must be, because you have one on yours, so they must go all the way up.
Well, what should be and what is are different.
Johnny and Chimba had one, I had a sheet on that too. So, I tried to research some of this. I went there, I was at College County looking at records.
The records in
2
this
hours.
area are sparse.
It's really difficult to research.
yeah, because I don't think there was nothing in writing, because I wanted the property there, and I said, okay, if you guys want to put a road in there, go ahead. So the township put a road in through there, but there was nothing ever recorded in my
Well-
contract or nothing.
yeah,
There could be, but you gotta go, I forget what year they said, it's
It was in the early 80s.
1980, whatever, everything's, the documents come up, you have no clue what you're looking at. There's just a whole bunch of them.
so
So,
you can, I've gone in and it's called T110, basically, and I've taken the measurements that's described in your documentation. And it takes you right to Alpha Drive. So I took the measurements, it's visual on the GIS layer as well. You can see where the white is designated as a private drive. The thing that gets hairy for you guys, like say you said, oh, we're not gonna go past Alpha anymore. Well, you have been for years now, so that would, in a court of law or whatever, might catch you.
yeah, there's a 6-year rule on that one, so. we're already in
That's
that.
my understanding, the township's already snow plowing this last 90 feet, correct? Up to the, past that,
Yeah, just,
Turn around.
just shy of where the tar starts again.
so they're going past, they're going almost to the shade lane now, the township is.
You drive past that end of the tar?
He goes past the culvert.
So you're saying maybe we should stay way up north farther, not follow that at all?
It's stated that we have been doing it, now we're
Right.
I mean, my driveway's on the tar, so I guess I'm covered. but-
Well, the whole thing is this project is, if we don't do anything, road's gonna wash out. I mean, it just started washing out in the 2-inch rain really fast.
So it's a highway easement on our property is dated August 30th to September 9th of 1982. So that's probably when that was all done.
So this started with gathering information, now we've got a plan to do something, and for us, we have to look at this, but right now we have a lot on our plate. And, we got to understand that something's got to be taken care of. But this is adding a project that on top of stuff that we've already got in line in front of it. So, you know, we have not been in the habit of taking over private roads, and every time we do this, we have to look at it all. But at this point, we've got some information, we've got an idea, but in a financial situation, we're not being able to help right now because of what we have going on. So, we can keep looking at it, we can talk about it, but financially, we can't move forward.
They're not looking for you to contribute into it, they're just looking.
We would be if we had to.
Yeah, down the road, there would be things for maintenance and that.
Right.
Is the culvert already being dug up with the creek project though, with this, or the addition? somebody just needs to pay for the culvert we dug up and moved.
Well, that's if you made it compliant. If you don't make it, you could do this and not make it compliant. It's whether would accept just the maintenance part of it.
Right, the basic
That's
ask
what
of the
was
town.
originally, well, I just added the other part.
It's still, it's, now, we committed to doing everything you've asked eventually, if we do the maintenance. I'm asking the board is, how do we move forward from this point? I mean, you've got a great plan, looks like something has to be done, but how do we move forward?
We just gonna have to get some numbers and see how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
The question I have with this is I hear that there's a problem, a water drainage issue. And I hear that it's gonna cost potentially 4 people or 4 groups some money. A landowner, maybe or maybe not a landowner, soil and water, and if the township takes it over to the township. But as a board member representing the entire township, my question is who benefits from this work? You've collected money from a group of people up and down the road who may not benefit, but I don't understand. I know what the problem from the presentation is, but I don't understand who's benefiting by doing this work. Is it this landowner? Is it that landowner? Is it 10 other landowners? I don't know. So I can't really make an assessment if it's worth township resources today or 10 years from now, from my seat today, without understanding who benefits.
Well,
and being able to justify
two landowners, for sure.
to justify to the rest of the residents of the township, it's worth the money to invest in this project, whether it's today or maintenance for the rest of our time taking over the road.
The other part would be the lake itself. It's just the sediment, the road washing out and going into the lake, like it's happened 8 years ago. The whole road washed out.
And that's, thank you. That is the soil and water's concern, number one. We love that you guys do roadways and all of that kind of stuff, but our concern is for the lake itself, the long-term health of the lake, and the contribution of sediment is quite significant every time it goes in. When you have sediment, it carries phosphorus, and then we're starting to see some numbers that are appearing on around the lake, algae. So typically, who's going to benefit from this project is everybody that owns land around that lake.
And south of it?
Yes, and
Down, so it's the entire water.
And then into eventually the soccer portion.
Exactly.
And you've seen the numbers go up in Birchdale.
They've been doing testing and things are going up, and just the visuals that we've seen as well over the years. I think I've been doing this since Welly's owned it, so when they did their first project. So it's significant that way, but I can see how you kind of have to weigh those, the decisions.
Knowing that makes it more compelling.
Mhm.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's our concern is the lake itself. Obviously, we care about the whole locals, we care about Dale, but when we talk soil and water, it's all environmental.
Thank you.
Well, how, at this point, what are we gonna do going forward? Are we just gonna keep looking at it? It's gotta be done, something's gotta be done, but as a board right now, we can't commit to anything, I don't believe.
Financially, we can't.
I mean, if you get through next summer and see where we're at and get that project financed so we can get back to our normal flow of business. So we can keep looking at this and you can keep maintaining it to that point and it makes sense to do something, I get that. And it makes sense to figure out this is the right project, how we do it and how does it protect us from other projects coming out. So right now, how do we want to go forward?
Do we even have a plan?
So you got a timeline on this too. The soil and water, you have
These grants are gonna run out.
Yes,
Next year?
Next year.
So then it's a maintenance agreement. I mean, who, if not the township, is there anybody that Dale is willing to allow to maintain this on your property, right?
Well,
That's the concern, right? That's always
my biggest
my concern
concern,
too.
I
Somebody
don't want to
finally makes it
maintain
fall
the
out.
intake going into lake and if the water runs over the road. So I talked to Arnie about this and it's like, I don't know, does the township want to take this over where this water come down from my property and from across County Road 19. I mean, who wants to police this? I don't want to be that person, and so that's kind of where it's sitting right now. And I talked to Arnie, it's like, does the township want to take this over? And that's where it's sitting.
I've offered, I'd do it, I don't know how many years, but I'm not an entity. So,
Yeah, well, what happens if you move or something?
yeah, I mean, I could take care of it for a period of time, township wouldn't have any cost, but that's up to you. But, I mean, liability's gonna be there no matter what, because if we do nothing, the road will wash out, it's just a matter of time.
So who fixes it now on the road? Because it washed out, what, 7 years ago?
Our neighborhood's been thought that we were responsible for it, and they've been collecting funds and dumping more class 5 in there.
Sounds like we have a legal issue that we first need to address, this ownership and maintenance before anything is done. And then the
We
second
probably
part,
want to review the minutes from 1982 and see if in there something was said, because I can't believe the township would have put in a culvert or a turnaround cul-de-sac without having ownership of the road. So I think that's where you guys need to start some research.
And Jackie has that dating.
Who put the original culvert in? That'd be another question. I mean, that would cost some time.
Hear the history.
well, in 2000, when the road was started, would be another time point to be considered.
Would we have to make a resolution to adopt from Alpha Lane down to the end of the tar right now?
No,
You're not required to do that. Because you're already maintaining it, clean it up. But if you are considering going the extra 90 feet, then you might want to wait and get that researched and use your lawyers and get that figured out first.
Okay, at this point, we just need to gather more information. There's nothing at this point we're gonna commit to, I believe is the way I sound here, so let's keep gathering information. You've brought some good information faster than things need to get done. I mean, faster than we're prepared to accept it, I guess. Keep bringing that information, we keep looking at it, we keep gathering information, and we just keep moving forward on this project, because at this point, we'll just have to.
Is there a
look at
plan? I mean, is there, everybody's talking about we can do this, we can do that, we can do this 50-inch culvert, we can make Dale's holding tank 10 times bigger, whatever it is, but do we have a plan?
Well,
It's been revised. We had a final plan going into it with a scaled down version where we didn't have as much work on Dale's property. When Dale said that, just the liability of the operation and maintenance being that the inlet is on his side, that's where, I guess, our discussion that day we met, 2 weeks ago, that's where it was more brainstorming session. It's like, how can we minimize or reduce the maintenance or risk with the maintenance? So that's where it's like, okay, to reduce the maintenance cost and the time it's gonna take, let's create a bigger sediment base, let's do that rock berm. So there isn't a final plan on that, just because we didn't have an agreement on this operation and maintenance. So that ultimately right now is kind of the hold up to do this, because
Maintenance.
yes, because
So what is, do we have an estimate for cost?
I mean,
Well,
on the original project?
Yeah, the original was $45,000.
$45,000.
And then I imagine this is another third or something of that.
I would guess it's gonna be, just ballparking, probably 10 to 12,000.
Right. So it's approximately $60,000 project with soil and water picking up 75%.
And then
The Lake Association is helping for a portion of the project, and then I will be responsible for $6,000 to $8,000 for sure out of my pocket.
Okay, then what about Dale?
Well, he's donating land.
well, I don't know. I mean, Ross and I have talked about this project, and I know on my side of the property, we talked about putting some this water down, and on Fogels from the crossing the road, but we don't know who owns this property.
Well, it's been legally surveyed. We have a survey on file.
But I mean, we talked 12-inch, 15-inch, I prefer 15-inch, that goes down towards your property, into your property, and then there's a 24-inch culvert that drains into the lake, 150, 200 feet from the lake, and my thoughts are, let's bypass that and run straight to the lake, and leave this 20-inch culvert that's in there, and that water runs through your property, which we've looked at with soil and water, putting some kind of riprap in there. I mean, I think that's great. I mean, let's do it that way, but I don't.
So, so I look like to me as a landowner review from time about it, this is the first, as a town board, I've heard of it. Dollars, project, anything. So that's where I'm coming from right now. This is the first.
Yep, I just want to be clear, at this point, we're not asking for the town, like, we personally aren't asking for the township to contribute money to this project at all. We're not asking you to adopt that road, and we're not asking you to widen that road.
Okay.
That's coming from your citizens.
Okay.
Right now, we were just asking, would you have the capacity to be able to take the, like, be able to go and maintain that inlet if something, like, would you be willing to do that? That's all we're asking.
And thank you. Because, and listening to a bunch of numbers going, where did this all come from? And so that's where I'm.
So I have a question. We haven't found out who owns this property and who's, I mean, from the outside going to the downside, who should pay for this? It's kind of where it's sitting at, right?
The way it's looking at right now, we've got that public land that was dedicated and nobody grabbed it at that point. It looks like you own half of that and he owns half of that. So if that township said, well, they're not gonna do anything, they're just, we're out, then we would be coming back to you, Dale, and saying, can you do the operation and maintenance on this?
So
And you've already made yourself clear.
we know that. I
We
have one
know.
other question about this. I mean, again, I'm gonna get back to the point. It sounds like there's some legality that needs to be worked out, and there's a question of who wants to maintain it. The question I have is, has anyone considered a subordinate service district to maintain it? So whether that township is pulled for tarring roads and other things, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that we would have to maintain, but somebody designated in that subordinate service district, whether it be the landowners or landowners in the township or the landowners in the lake association, whoever makes up that subordinate service district, that's an entity, not an individual, be the one that maintains it in perpetuity. Has that been considered?
I've never heard of it, actually. I have heard, like down at another lake, we had a group of people give an easement to the lake association to be able to come in, and they are on the hook for perpetuity. That lake association is, like you suggested, but that would have to be something Dale would approve.
And the lake association.
Right, and then you have those costs, whoever the people are involved in that, of getting that easement documented and put into place so that, you know, can cost $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 as well, and we don't cover that either.
And liability.
Well, let's gather some more information. And you guys take it a long ways, and now we're.
Do you want us to, so what I'm hearing is pull minutes, as much of what I can find going back from probably early 80s up forward through 2000 on anything with Almond and into Shady Lane and that whole section. And then do we want any consultation with Troy Gilchrist?
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Check with them on a direction, attorney, and then gather information, then go from there. Is that kind of the board consensus on how we look at this, and we're gonna maintain it?
Should we put it on the agenda next month?
Yes, let's keep it on the agenda and just keep. Thanks for updating us. But for me anyway, I'm getting more familiar. So, and I
If
got,
you want to plan the plan,
Yeah.
well, that we have right now, we can draw.
Yes.
the
share it with us,
additions.
we got an idea that if we're gonna take over and maintain, at least we know what we're maintaining and taking over. So, at this point, I'm gonna close this agenda item and we're gonna move on. Thank you.
Ross, thank you for that.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Thank you for reading that.
Thank you, Lord.
No problem.
Township road report, Almond Drive.
I think you pretty much covered that.
That was it, and we're ready to run.
Okay,
Oh, except for that culvert that put in,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe Jim, did you hear about the culvert? Yes.
So when's that happen? Tomorrow?
I-
Thursday?
Next week.
And we're still waiting,
Pardon?
we're still waiting on the locate.
Okay.
The excavator's down, or
No, so nobody called in?
well, it's called in.
Culvert by.
Well, they say they got 24 hours to sit there
I
and.
understand that it's not located.
Well, it's
So
not
you're
there.
gonna work on that to the south too?
Yeah,
Well, you should got a ticket that says that it's
We
all
need-
clear.
we do, but we see pedestals and no flags. So we just want to be,
Sure.
we just want to double check before we hit wires.
Yeah.
Now, when you see a wire come on, it's like, oh, damn,
By the,
you know, stop.
that,
Everything's there, we're just
On
waiting.
Almond Drive?
yeah, there's,
I would call them, yeah.
just
yeah.
Yeah,
all
we're-
machinery and-
He's going, so.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow.
Jackie, for your reference, there's two things happening. The culvert just past Marlene's house has failed. So it's gonna be replaced. It's broken and rusted out. It's gonna be replaced and there's gonna be sediment removed from along the ditch. And then there's gonna be the culvert replaced and riprap placed in fabric on both sides, compliant with what we've been doing, compliant with soil and water and what we've been doing on Alcott.
So I have a
And then-
question, Joe. How much is all this gonna cost now?
So then, if I can finish, then they'll move on to the part that we've already bidded at the end, the Almond, that we've already agreed to. I don't know, Larry, I guess I wasn't part of the bidding process.
I wasn't.
And we need to fix it.
Yeah, but I think we need to be careful of what we're doing too.
well, this is damaged by a storm, this is what, it's not picking and choosing anymore, it's fixing and repairing.
So we put a camera up there and things rusted out completely, both ends are plugged right down. And the water don't even come off the end anymore, it comes out someplace.
So where are we at with it, they're waiting to,
Yeah, they're just waiting for locates right now.
okay,
Okay.
and that's gonna be done.
Has to be done.
Any estimates on how much that's gonna cost?
I can get you some, I'll do that tomorrow.
She doesn't have to be exact.
Right. So like, you think, Tony's gonna help pay for the riprap? You know, that'd be a culvert that could probably, you know, the county should probably,
It'd be well worth it to do it, but whether we can actually get it through the paperwork process, last time it took us 4.5 months and got it while the work was on the road was being done, but before the, so I.
maybe tomorrow, somebody should call Dave Sher, I guess. Since she was here, maybe we should ask her.
She's still there.
It's a worthwhile question, yeah. I mean, I guess my capacity is full on Alcott, so I'm not gonna take any more.
What's this?
Do we ever find anything out about Sourcewell?
For roadworks? I would say that roadwork is not covered under Sourcewell grant funding, no. Who is doing the culvert repair?
We are, NBC.
MVC? Okay.
Project taken care of then, for now?
Yep.
Elcott Drive update?
So you'll see in front of you, Howard and Dominic are here to speak to the work that was completed and the invoices that we received. So the work is 99.9% completed on Alcott. I say 99.9% because there's a little bit of cleanup, just finishing around one of the culverts, and of course, there's been several calls from residents regarding a multitude of things that are still lingering. So I won't say this is the last invoice, but we've had lots of questions about drainage, lots of questions about water, lots of questions about our culverts weren't replaced, we'd like them replaced, our culverts don't have riprap, we would like riprap. So anyway, thank you all for those of you that have helped with those questions. I suspect more to come. We've also, as a reminder, we have another lift for class 5 to put down. I've had many calls about it and dust control, why we haven't dust controlled yet. So if we put that lift at class 5 down and the crushed asphalt and get the dust control down, that would be appreciated. If I'm not using my phone for work, it's on fire for resident calls.
This is on Alcott.
On Alcott, okay.
I just got a call tonight from somebody in Alcott about the pothole and washout, and he's supposedly getting the bottom out of his car when he goes into his driveway because of the washouts. So there it is.
I go through there today. It needs some attention. Yeah, with the rain, rains every second day, and you put it in, it rains, it gets saturated, and we got mud, and
I understand it, you understand it, pretty much everybody in the room understands it, except the people that are coming in and bitching all the time.
As supervisors, we're gonna have to throw that in if the people that are getting the majority of calls wanna push them on the rest of us, then do so. It's all all of us to take the seat, and people gotta understand we're trying to do the best we can.
Rain has not been helping us. Gail was out last week, my wife was out last week taking photos of the rain. Two of the residents that had the most concern about the culvert replacement by Ricky Tabbits. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the papers I just had. So if you're reading along. They said, I spoke with them and the engineer at length yesterday. They're still concerned about the water drainage and it flooding them out. Now, this is for everyone's reminder, we went above and beyond to riprap additionally through their property, because once we actually started doing the work, we realized there was a tile through their property. They were at the meeting in April concerned about the flow of water. We discovered a tile, it was blocked, we opened it up, and we riprapped down to it. Met with the engineers and Deja out on site, actually inspected that and every one of the other pieces of property that we did work on. And the engineer said everything that was installed to spec. Soil and Water said everything looked fantastic. The quote was, "We wish our contractors could do such a good job." So I think, obviously, we did everything like we were supposed to. Our contractors and engineers did everything they were supposed to. The residents still unhappy about the water drainage, but the takeaway is that that was the memo I forwarded to all of you. The water is not, the outlet is at greater capacity than it was previously, because it was failed prior, and it is adequate for the design going into it. That's the takeaway.
And if I can jump on board with that, I was dealing with this for over a year ago, when the water that would come down the hill was, the culvert that was in there was not up to size. And the water, before it got to that, was running across the road and running into a neighbor's person's property and running down to Sauk Lake. We needed to address this problem, and we went from an 18-inch to a 36-inch culvert, and the problem is now the residents down below say, we don't want this water. Well, what are we supposed to do? I mean, we can't let the water run across the road. It was running across the road into this residence down to Sauk Lake. Well, we have to run the water down the road, get it across the road into Sauk Lake, and that's where we're at.
Interesting to that point, Dale, only after going through all of this, all the discussions we've had about that very issue, complaints from the residents upstream, after being on site and meeting with the engineer and soil and water, did I learn that the road was actually designed to overtop every 2 years. The culvert was specifically sized to be under that spot to do that very thing. I didn't know that. You didn't know that. No point prior did the engineer say that. They told us now the design we have is intended to overtop the road every 10 years. So my point is only to say, one, it would have been useful for us to have known that earlier. And two, if we think we solved the problem, we just did for 8 more years. So it was a learning lesson for me, and I mean, there were several learning lessons through all this, but you're right, something needed to be done, and I would contend that it's a much better solution.
I agree. I was out here, 10 days ago, when they had that 2+ inches of rain, and I sent Joe some videos of the rain, and it definitely it's working really well from what it was. I mean, water was running across Alcott Drive into Nancy Camus's property, and she built a new house and built a new house, and we wanted to did something to send this water down and send it across. I'm sure she's been here screaming at us because her properties have been washing out, so I'm real happy how this turned out.
So the two residents that had issue, we met with Deja. They were under the impression there was a easement for their property for someone to maintain the outlet. Deja confirmed there is no easement. I stated the township doesn't have one. From what I was able to find, she confirmed that there's nothing. In fact, her statement was that nobody had a reported easement on those two properties. The second piece with it is, the engineer confirmed that their tile is undersized, was historically undersized. It's at 15 inch, it should have been 18 inch. It's still presently undersized. And that Deja confirmed for the resident if they have issues in the future that there's money from the soil and water to help resolve that issue for them. Speaking with the engineer, one of the criticisms I had, and again, a lesson learned for me, I didn't think about this. We talked about the design upstream. We had a calculation from them, how many acres of water was moving that direction. In the storm, we designed everything, including the culvert going underneath the road, but only after the fact, when we were doing the work, did anybody design the outlet. And I asked them, did you design an outlet? They said, no, we didn't factor it in. Asking them later why they didn't, they said, well, we actually, practice is to do everything up to that point in the outlet. There's a spec from the soil and water, which they, NBC followed in the installation. At that point, the word was, the convention throughout the state is that the problem has been resolved. So, i.e., if it goes to somebody else, it is now for them to address. So, all of that to say, I think the work is, I think it's top-notch work. We've got a good solution. It's good preparation for next year. I think it'll be important to remind everybody that this is an ongoing process. There's no thinking the sausage. And so the piece about the sausage I want to talk about is the invoice. So you saw it all come through. The detailed invoices are here. Howard and Dominic are here to speak to it. With the invoices, they provided detailed maps of all the work that they did. I know that you probably all have sticker shock looking at the total price. They broke it down by individual project along the road. And the part I've been looking for that I had just as we started this meeting that I don't seem to really find is all of the, hey, there you are, thank you. These are all of the
That's
estimates.
what you're looking for.
I thought I was one senile during this meeting. These are all the estimates that were provided to us by NBC beginning in September of 2024 through February this year. All of these estimates total 202,000 and some change. And the total invoice from NBC totals 209,000. So for a project that grew, Howard, how many feet was it that we initially quoted? Was 1,100 and we went up to?
No, it was 1,500 we quoted and we put 2,600 in.
There you go. So 1,500 feet of remediation tile, P-rock, all of that, plus an unknown question mark and what material coming out, all of that black dirt, 70-some loads if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was 80 or 90 or something.
It's on the invoice. With the debris, all of that being said, for a delta of about $7,000, I think we're sitting pretty good.
As a board member, I think of myself, I did do a good job of looking at combined invoices. In my head, this is gonna be this cost, and this would be this cost, and we're thinking, I'm thinking this whole thing's in that less than $100,000 number.
Yeah.
And we have the estimates there, and Joe showed it to me, so sticker shock on my part, but.
On everybody's part.
But not following, putting all the numbers together that was provided to us, it shouldn't be a sticker shock, because we should have known it was gonna be this.
And we did more by wiki tablets, you know, we put that tile in, that wasn't on there. And we had a lot more riprap, you know, downstream there, you know.
And
I'm not questioning your
No, no,
invoice, I'm
no.
questioning my stuff as a supervisor for not being on top of this more.
the one other piece just to remember is we will be getting, once the work is completed, cost share from the soil and water office. Again, I'm not gonna say the number because I'm probably gonna get it wrong. It was around that $17,000 mark. It pales in comparison to the total invoice, but point is to say that it, you know, there was a couple instances like that riprap on the north end. There was one load of black dirt that went in for a washout. Otherwise, everything else was by design. And so, you know, I guess I too, admittedly, I had the numbers, I added them up a year ago, kind of slipped my mind or just didn't really remember until adding it up again. And for me, it was a refresher, but the point is to say it's a foreshadowing, I think, of what the rest of the project's going to be.
So how much do we expect further cost to be? I mean, you said 99.9, but what is, I mean, any estimate of what it's going to cost to make it 100%?
So the estimate is just earth bill for the class 5 and the crushed asphalt and the dust control on it.
So MBC is done.
Yeah, we should be, we got a bucket or two of black dirt, but we're not gonna fill your side, we'll just do that.
One clarification would be that we've been paying for aprons through Todd County directly. There was one on the list of claims this month for 7,900 or so. There may be some aprons yet that will come through from NBC on an invoice at a later point.
We had some, but we just gotta look at, see what we purchased and you guys purchased. And maybe there is none, it's just something we lost track of when we were doing that.
So, Joe, the heat you're getting, go ahead.
I just don't want to add to, I mean, there's a lot of debris that came off of that road that shouldn't have been there. So it was used to fill back years ago.
Yeah,
So there's added cost there.
So even on the maps, on them paper, we did kind of put it square where the bad spots were, where there's rocks and, you know, we think it was old farmhouse, I mean, that was buried there, like foundation, I heard they got old foundation, chimney.
Like, is that a Chevrolet?
No, we never got that far.
Yeah, if you look at invoice 8711.
It's on the map.
So, Joe, how does this compare to our estimate on the total project? Was this part of this was figured in there or not? we were at 1 point, whatever, that's just that.
That's just the,
Okay. So,
this was all above and beyond just the.
okay. So we're not, would be applying for any funds, so after we get started on next year's project, that be correct?
So what was the question,
The
Jim?
question would be, we are not applying for any funds or stuff till we get all the estimates, and that becomes ahead of starting the project.
Right, so my question to the board was, and we should probably talk further with Marlene here tonight about what else we have for costs coming up, just because we are getting so low on funding.
We really are.
But I think for next month, would you like somebody, would it be good to get somebody here to come and talk to us about borrowing, about bonding, like a representative? If I can find out, I know, I had reached out a couple of months back to somebody from David Drown and Associates. Troy Gilchrist has someone he can recommend. I was gonna ask him who that is. It'd be nice, I think, to have somebody come and address the board,
I would like to see that.
okay, to tell you the process.
I think before we go that process, because is there gonna be a charge on that process?
To have him come out,
Yeah.
we'll make sure there isn't, if it's free, I mean, at this point, free. I mean, unless we can even do a virtual meeting, it's free. I don't wanna have any cost even to have him come and talk to you.
So I think at some point here, we have to look at either with what's going on, either what's available to borrow money as a township short term? Is there something out there? Does anybody have to do that before? Everything's bonded, it's gotta be onto a project?
When we did the LCOT, we bonded for that. We didn't have a, actual loan.
Are you, I think you're talking about possibly some things that I've heard where townships, when they are running very, very, very low, just to be able to operate, they may need to have some short-term borrowing
That's what I'm asking, yeah.
get them over the hump to getting their levy.
Next payment.
Next
The next levy is coming in November.
Okay.
Right now, with the checkbook and the money market, we'll have 155,000 left.
Let's move forward with bringing someone in on that
Okay.
loan possibilities and also research what's needed on short term.
Do you want to research with maybe the bank about short-term borrowing for us? And then I can reach out on the bonding borrowing and see if we can have somebody come to present for
How
that.
much would we be looking at, do you think?
Well, I mean, right at this, how are we feeling as far as what we have for expenses between now and
Well,
November?
I looked at what we've done last year from like, July through November. And we had, of course, we had a little bit of, dust control. There was some ditch mowing. But nothing was like extremely high priced.
Yeah, but some fire contracts and stuff.
Yeah, but even still, they're not real big.
Okay.
So what I'm kind of wondering, I think this is a possibility. I'm just gonna say one other thing to put this in perspective. We have more in our checking account than Candota Township's entire annual levy.
That doesn't matter.
I know.
They have a lot less that they're doing than we are, so that makes no difference.
But what I'm wondering is, with
Our treasurers.
I'm having a little bit of a hard time, she's gonna say.
She's gotta get through this.
we know there's a total project cost, I mean, we know that it's gonna be 1 million dollars, right? We've already spent 200 and change on that project. What I'm wondering is if there's a way that we can bond for the total amount in tranches. So something now, say 210,000 for that total project.
And that was what I was addressing, is can you do it and not
Right,
borrow
and
the
then
total and then.
pay the interest on that, what you borrow now, and then take the rest at the completion of the project.
That's the direction I was going.
I see what you're saying.
You made clear what I was asking, I appreciate it. So it's just common sense that we have to at least look at it because we don't know what could happen yet.
Now, we're not gonna know the total bid until, it'll be awarded in May, I believe. And it'll be published in February, is the current schedule is set. So, we're still 9 months plus away.
And just for reference, last year, from July 1st through November 30th, we spent $116,028.
I think we have some tree cut in there too, so I don't think this year we'll have any. That's what we're storming.
We don't know what we're gonna have yet.
Yeah.
We could have more.
From a storm? Yeah.
And I, we're talking about water and stuff, I've got 2 videos on my phone, I can show you, a 2-foot washout on paper, like the property that I had that came with one of these last storms, it literally washed the whole yard out, I mean, and I have another place on stock that I got video on that washout, I mean, it just, what are we at, 18.9 or 18.10 inches for the year?
And I think that's the question I have for the board, is how much do we, every phone call we get, my road is washed out, or my driveway is washed out, how many times are we gonna respond to this? Fixing the washout isn't the expensive part. Getting the equipment there and getting the material there, and then getting it away is most of the cost.
Right.
So how much are we gonna spend? Do we wanna be nickel and dime with all these little things? How much do we push back on the residents? How do you make that call?
I guess it's we've got to be fair and say, we're doing the best we can, and everywhere that way, we're gonna look at this project and deal with it as we move forward. The stuff on LDOT is, hey, we're gonna do the road, we'll fix it then. We gotta get it to a point of somewhat maintenance, but it's, slow down, drive, pay attention, watch
I
the
used
road.
that
Yeah.
before, so just, we have other things ahead of you, and you're just gonna have to wait, because it's gonna take a while.
Okay, so anything else? I mean, we've got some stuff coming up for next month on figuring out what's going on. Anything else on LDOT?
Unless there's questions from residents.
I just want to say, when you drive by my place here and see some flags in the ditch, I'm working with Todd County to try to get some more strip wrap in there, but I'm working directly with that.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, it slipped my mind to follow up with you. So we met and inspected on all sides, you probably heard from Deja.
Yeah.
Yeah, the extent of the township's responsibility has been solved with what's there. She suggested to reach out to her, so
Yeah.
glad to hear you're doing that.
She's been out there, and she's
Okay.
working on it.
Good.
The other thing is, has that project that Todd County's doing that we're piggybacking on, is that still on go?
I can't speak to that. I haven't heard anything different. We'd have to confirm before I'm telephone, but my understanding is that it's still on target for, the bids to be awarded in May and applications to go out. It's still on their capital improvement plan, I know that.
That make ours a little less expensive.
Right.
Set up fee and all that stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time.
That brings up a point. Some questions that have come up that we don't need to answer now, but I'm just gonna state again for everyone's remembering, because it's gonna come up, and we should probably have another meeting like we did in April, later in the fall or over winter about the project as we get closer to time, because there's still some unanswered questions, like, we have generally consensus, but the engineer is gonna need to know the plan for mailboxes. Are we gonna do it and charge residents? How are we gonna do that? That was the consensus last time. The next is, are we gonna put in the walking lanes and narrow the road, but paint a wider stripe and have the outside aprons? Is it gonna be a 1-foot apron? Is it a 2-foot apron instead of bump outs? Again, I think we have consensus on that, but just need to make the final decision for the engineer. And the third was about costs or not costs, but a plan for residents to be able to pave their driveways if they want them paved. The engineer made it very clear that the plan doesn't include that, nor should it, because it's not a township expense. However, if we don't write in the possibility of it in the plan, then it's not afforded to the residents. They told me this, I didn't know this. If you don't write it in the plan as potential that the residents would pay for on their own, then the contractors won't even consider it. So we would need to.
And when would you feel we had to have this done by?
Well, if the bid goes out in February, we need to know what the plan is before then. I asked Widseth what their timeline was, and they were hoping to have the kind of the final proposal proposal for us to review in the November timeframe. So,
Like if we have it on the agenda item for November or October.
I think November would probably be better, because then it would give us some time, if there was pushback. They're taking all this information, but if there's pushback, we can amend it yet into December before, in January before it goes out.
Make sure it gets on our November agenda.
Yes, sir.
So you're saying that there's possibility then that we could get our driveways done at our expense?
At your own expense, that you could, and it's not the same crew that paves the road.
Okay.
It's a different crew. All I'm talking about is the formality and the plan.
Right.
Contractors do this normally anyway. They subcontract out to somebody else that knocks on doors and says, do you want your driveway done? All I'm saying is our plan needs to at least have a language in it, but yes, there will be some possibility of residents getting their driveway started.
Okay. I'm looking at that right now, but push it back. Okay.
Probably in your best interest anyway, because if you did it now, and the road is raised 3 inches, there'll be a.
Okay.
Any other comments on Lockhart? Not, I'm moving to the next agenda item.
And I just asked, is there anything else left for Howard Dominic, or was?
The only thing is, if you guys can have some of that crushed tar back, I'll just pay her for crushing it and. Her, yeah. I mean, you can just haul it out of Winter's Creek on that plan. Yeah.
So Irv, you'll just bill us for the crushing of the loads that we're taking. Is that how it go?
We can do that for the crushing part.
Yeah.
Okay. We pay you then, Howard? Is that how?
What's that?
Who would we pay for the crushing? Pay you? But
Just pay her for the crushing.
Okay.
So just when you get your, whatever tar's left, and just bill us for it.
Okay.
Yeah, we make that work.
Good. Thank you all.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Fair.
Thank you, sir.
No, I mean,
Howard, do you want these?
If you guys want these copies, you can surely have them.
Okay.
So, okay, thank you.
you guys are project managers, but how are they?
So it's Howard Markwaller, one of the owners, and one of the other owners, Dominic Markwaller.
Okay. Moving on to item C. Just a week.
Larry, you can kind of jump in on this too if you want to.
He's already.
He left saying himself, what the hell?
Anyway, we sent the map to central applicators and they were out yesterday and today in Birchdale Township and took care of, I'm hoping what we had marked, so kind of where it's sitting, so. And we had sent a couple letters out to a couple residents to clean up their thistles, and I went out today and checked them. They had got it done, so it's going a lot better than last year. So I'm happy.
Well, he must have a lot to do because I've seen him for most of the day today out there. Okay. Moving on to unfinished business then.
Okay, just a quick update on the 2 vacations. Working with Attorney Gilchrist, we have notified the commissioner of the DNR regarding the lake walk. And so that one, in order to make sure we have the 60-day time frame, that one will then come up for finalization at next month's meeting. Troy Gilchrist is currently working on the wording for the Main Street in Ward Springs. And then I've talked to the recorder. She said once Troy is complete, with that, she'll take a look at it and let him know if it is properly worded so that she can do the recording. I would assume that one will also come up for next month's meeting, so the board can go ahead and make the final vote on that. Both of them.
Any feedback from that other resident that was notified on the Main Street?
We have nothing yet.
Any questions on that?
Yeah, the 60 days, we're gonna meet that then, for sure?
Mhm, yeah.
August, because we were looking at September.
The commissioners, well, okay, wait, back up. So the letter went out by certified mail. The commissioner received it. You're right, it won't be at the August meeting. You're right, Robbie, just a second, I'm getting ahead of myself. 60 days and they received it yesterday. They signed for the letter yesterday. So 60 days from yesterday. I can't even think what's the month are we in? July, Jack. Okay, it will be the September meeting. It'll be the September meeting we'll have to do it at, which is the meeting that we thought we would need to do it. Yeah.
About 63 days. Nailed it.
Yep. Oh yeah, it went, I pushed Troy right away after that last meeting. I said, that letter has got to go now, and he wrote it. So it went and certified. And I got the signature back yesterday. So they got it.
Okay, any more questions on that? That one got item B.
I put this on here because I had a real quick question. At last month's meeting, the board had talked about doing those culvert checks on Alcott Drive. I think what had been brought up when I read through the minutes was that we wanted to maybe once a year look at culverts along that road to make sure they're clear of leaf and debris. I believe that was discussed by somebody on the board. I just wondered, did you want that put on the calendar of events, and what month would that be a good idea to do a check?
So there's actually two things from this. The first was, we talked about our list of, our inventory list, and that we were talking about adding culverts to it along with the map that we got from Todd County last year. Now that we know the size of every culvert that's in there, we talked about adding those, because we got the invoice, adding those to that list, inventory list, as well as the map with dimensions. And then, and just for everyone's reference, there was only one culvert that wasn't replaced, or excuse me, that wasn't inspected, touched, or replaced on the road. They're all fine. But the other piece with it is there is a clean out on the north end with a grate across it that will require some maintenance. However, Howard mentioned that we had that rainstorm last week and it already covered with leaves and it's not even fall yet. So he talked about putting a different cover on it that will not fill so fast or require so much cleaning. So he's going to keep an eye on it. He said he would just swap it out if necessary. So I would say to your question, Jackie, it's too early for us to know if we require maintenance, but I would put something on the calendar just like fall-ish.
Fall-ish?
October, just so we can keep an eye on whether it's been replaced before then or not. He'll let me know if he does.
Okay.
And if we need to have it once a year or not.
Okay. I just want to get it on there
Yeah.
so that we don't forget.
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. New business?
Dale, you had asked me to add this one regarding Roger Roski.
Yes, Arnie and I met with Roger and I actually did some maps here. Arnie can chime in.
Did you do this or did your wife do
this? Well. Anyway, when you come out of Roger Roski's, it would be the.
You know where we're talking about? Okay.
285th. So he's concerned, he lives here, when you come out here and the road comes to here and I drew this black line in and it's kind of downhill. And I am really surprised that he's kind of coming up with this, but he would like this road, Township Road, to be changed and come straight out to 28 here. Because he says it's on the top of a hill, and when he comes out and heads east towards Griego, how many times he's came out of that Township Road and there's a car right on it behind, and he would like to.
The drawn line is the existing road?
Yes.
Okay.
And the the property, his line runs straight out, no.
I don't know if we can get up high enough.
Yeah.
Because Roger and I went there and drove side by side to dinner, and it helped out a lot, but you still can't see over the hill. Then if we have to stay 33 feet from, his property, we're not gonna gain that much.
I don't see
So-
that would be a big deal.
I mean, I took some pictures, so Roger's saying his property should run straight up to this here trees, which are the property, and he feel like, this hill crests and comes down where now he's on the bottom side of this hill, and he would like to see this road change so it comes straight up, which would gain him quite a bit more of the hill. So.
I told Leo, now we're gonna get another, we're gonna do, we're gonna stop the state,
Like
put
go
a
straight
sign up there
Yeah.
for,
Property.
line intersection, something
And
like
the
that,
hill can crest.
which would help
down.
out, if anybody can read sign.
I think we should, Brian.
Well, it's
How many years is that road?
Roger's, Brian's property.
How many accidents?
Well,
How many years has the road been here and how many accidents have happened?
Well, he said he's lived there 50 years, haven't had an accident, but it's like, why now?
Put a sign up there that's, like caution blind entrance or something like that. Back to Lauren, that's.
I said we bring it to the town board and talk
Is that a
about it.
state one?
State highway.
Any other questions on that?
Do you think we should talk to somebody, talk to the state, or I don't know who you talk to?
Who would you talk to with the state?
In South Center?
Lauren, no.
I would, yeah, I would.
Or are you putting the road up, it's signed on the township road, or are you putting it on the county road?
State road.
It's a state road.
Or state highway, so.
I think you'd have to call Baxter. Is the guy in Baxter that has.
So you'd be putting this sign on 28 previous to that blindness, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they would have to do that.
Yeah, but how many people will look at that? They're like, hammer down.
Well,
I think that's where you'd start with the state. Because if you're gonna move anything, the state's gonna be involved.
yeah.
They're
And
really touchy about driveway approaches and everything.
So, does somebody wanna look into it? And it's not gonna be Joe, so anybody else?
if I knew where to go, I would. I don't know where to go.
I got a phone number for you, Arnie.
Do you?
I got it back at the shop.
Okay, just text me or something like that.
Yeah, I'll text it to you.
Okay, we'll let you look into that, we're moving on to item B. Proposal for snow plowing.
All right, so we're coming up on our calendar of events for snow plowing quotes. Last year we sent out to Herdering and Craig Cheetah. We only received a quote back from Herdering. I'm just asking the board if they would, make a motion to approve our quote and sending it again to Herdering and Craig Cheetah. Or anyone else.
Can I do a shot at it again?
Okay, or and toxic excavating.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Item C, tires.
Okay, Joe, you may want to fill in, and I realize why I forgot to put it on, because I brought it to the solid waste transfer station in Todd County, and it came up on our committee meeting with the regional director and the manager out there, Mike Everly. And they kind of gave you feedback about the tire program. And for their purposes, it's not something that they necessarily want to go in. They basically told me that if the township has tires and they bring them up to the transfer station in Todd County will take them for free.
So where this came from was their, agreeing in Stearns County, the county itself is offering a matching grant for residents to bring in tires that are sitting around on their property for up to $2,500 for disposal. They load them up on a crate, they take them down to St. Martin for recycling. So, and there's a state grant for it, you can apply, they applied initially for 25,000, there was such feedback that they actually increased it up to the max, which was 75,000. There's apparently still money available, and I just was asking Jackie if Todd County is pursuing something similar. I understand that the township can bring tires to the transfer station, but residents still have to pay. The whole point of this state grant was to try to alleviate, I think, the tires are harboring mosquitoes off of people's property. And Jackie had looked it up, it's not just available for counties, but also townships, and or any even cities. So what I was wondering was, is it something that Birchdale Township would want to see if we could apply for the grant and help offset some of the people wanting to bring tires in?
Read somewhere that they hope this will still.
Yeah. I was finding out.
They didn't tell me that we shouldn't or should.
Yeah.
The transfer station didn't see it as an issue. They felt like they would dispose of the tires if they were brought in.
Even by residents?
They didn't differentiate, Joe. So I think if residents brought them up to Todd County's transfer station, they'll take them.
Wow, that's good to
No
know.
cost, yep.
Okay.
Their issue, I think, is just making sure they're coming from the county. Like, they don't wanna like
No contract.
advertise it, I guess what I'm saying, okay, so what I'm saying is, they will do that, and I'm saying that right now, and it's on TV, and that's good. But they don't want to put it on their website or anything, because it's not like, they wanna make sure it's just for Todd County residents.
And that it's not exploited.
Exactly, like, they don't want everybody coming from all parts of the.
That makes sense. I just know some neighboring land that had some that would fill semi-loads.
Okay.
So, every little bit helps, I guess.
Right.
We don't need to discuss it anymore.
Okay.
Informational items?
All right. First item is special assessment information request. We got one from Integrity Title for 12309 Alcott Drive, Stock Center. I did respond to them that there was no assessments from Birchdale. The next item is notice of the District 8 meeting. It'll be held on Wednesday, August 20th, starting at 4:30. You can meet with MAP staff, registration 5, dinner at 5:45. It's $10 per person. You should RSVP to Frank Hard at minnesotatownships.org. It's going to be actually in Isle, Minnesota this year. So if you'd like to go to that, please RSVP to him.
And what is that kind of meeting?
Typically I did go last year, but more in the capacity of the county. There tends to be legislators there that are there to listen to township concerns. But they give an update from that. Next item is the Board of Adjustments meeting. There's one scheduled for Thursday, August 7th at 6 p.m. And that's the one for Toby Danielson, 24935 Cedar Lake Road, requesting the CUP for a salvage yard in AF1 zoning district.
I would go to that if nobody else wants to.
You're gonna go, Dale?
Yes.
Okay. And then last but not least was basically, I noticed Todd County Planning and Zoning is doing something now that when cups or conditional use permits are granted, they do send out a notice originally to the township that it fell into. And this one, we did receive notice that the cup was granted to Daniel Township Dairy Ridge Farm. And then last but not least, an item that I added was tonight or this afternoon, I just received notice of our township aid for 2026 from the Department of Revenue. Last year, we received $3,243. and for this next 2026, we'll get $3,240. So $3 less.
I've got, two things. One, Precision Roadway did use that new material on Almond Drive here. Do you have any feel for how it,
I think we won't do it again.
okay,
Because they sit there and they talked to me, if we can fill these cracks up a little better. So they came up with some stuff anyway. But I don't think they did a very good job, or it's better than it was. It's
Still
still,
where we have the,
yeah,
okay.
it's still got them there.
it's a lot better,
Yeah.
than it was, but yeah, I agree, there still is, some rumbling. It was $4,300 more than what we paid in the past.
Okay.
So, no big deal there. And then, secondly, I wanted to know, if I call the bank and talk to them about a short-term loan, how much money are we talking about? Our November settlement, when that comes, will be approximately $201,000.
For me, it's more of is it available? In what kind of time frame is available?
Okay.
It,
Not committing to anything, not requesting anything right now.
Informational.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
mean, I know if I have to go do something, I know what it's gonna take and I can
Yep.
watch it, anybody else does, but I don't know how it does on our.
Okay, perfect. That tells me what I need to do then. All right, that's all I got.
Any other comments from the board? Not looking for a motion.
Herb, do you have anything?
Sorry, go on.
If you guys see anything, got a call.
Hmm.
I plan on starting tomorrow on elk hunt, be tomorrow afternoon.
We got a couple, 3-day nice window where you can get
Yeah.
that done.
Yeah, we got
Herb, could you do the shouldering when you're out there too?
right, you have some
Yeah.
corners we should fix up a
Yeah.
little.
Thank you.
Okay, still looking for that motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Joe made a motion, Larry second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Joe, did you get these from, who's yours?
Howard, he brought them by.
Thanks, Robbie.
And I asked him to print these off. Thank you, everybody.